Well, greetings and salutations. All right. I've waited a week. I've been nice. A lot of flat earthers seem to be pressuring Jeran for an answer to what happened with his test, and I think it's pretty, honestly, I think it's pretty cheap, the way he just kind of blew it off to everybody. He put it as a itty-bitty little beginning comment to his, what was the damn name of that video that he did? Hold on. He put it as a itty-bitty little comment in the beginning of this video, conference billboard test results, OBS simulcast, oh my, and a tiny little footnote right above send me money. NA, you are first. So, yeah, and you know, a video that was, well, in my opinion, could have waited to another time. I don't know, but I'm not here to make that judgment. But he made sure he got his ads in. Though there's a kickoff ad, and then there's one here, and then there's one here, and then there's one here, and then, like I said, his little bitty commentary here right above: pay me, send me money, so I can go out and screw up another test. All right, let's run this down, because a lot of his supporters are a little bit agitated. I won't say they're pissed, and I'm not saying that anybody's saying anything more than they're just agitated, because Jeran just has not found it necessary to make a report about this. I'm surprised there's no photos. Doesn't mean there aren't any, but I'm surprised he hasn't brought them out. Of the supposed burnt laser and all this other stuff. So, and some people really got pissed off because of the fact that Jeran told, yes, this is no bullshit, Jeran told me the results of his test before he told anybody on his channel. Or, excuse me, before he produced something on his channel to say what happened. I mean, really. I think that if somebody sent me money and I was promising a test performed with the money that they paid, I'm pretty sure people would want me up on a cross for this shit. But sorry, I'm finishing my dessert. But anyway, no, he posted his results to me. Please note, to me on my channel in a comment board where he's not blocked. Go figure. I'm blocked on his. He's not blocked on mine. Go figure. And but he posted to me on a comment board, among other things, because he wanted to have a discussion with he wanted to express his dissatisfaction with the fact that I backed up everything that I said on another video. But we won't go too far into that. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you the comment that he made. This is the comment. Y'all can read it if you want to. Make a screen capture, whatever. I don't know how long he's going to leave it on there. This comment was not edited. He did not change it. There's no changes in it whatsoever. So I'm going to go over this comment with you, just so his users, at least, and his backers and his supporters can come up with, can at least have the whole picture here. Because there's actually 3 different places where he put this up. Where he put some kind of pieces of the results of his test. There was here, there was here at the bottom of that conference billboard test results OBS simulcast oh my video that he released after this, and then he also made a short mention, less than a minute long, in front of that video, which was quite a bit longer than that. But anyway, my bad. This is what we're going to go over first, real quick, just so we can get this out of the way. On the comment board, he said, "We didn't think that because I had asked him, this is what kicked off his response. And that was, I had asked him, why didn't he do his experiment live? You know, for financial reasons, it would have been good money for them, or for the Globebusters, for entertainment reasons, you know, and getting to know your reasons and watching how people do experiments reasons. There's about 1,000 reasons why you could have done it live. But anyway, this was his response. He says, we didn't do the experiment live because the setup took longer than it was expected. Well, okay. Seems a little bit weird that, you know, maybe you could have been, you know, done a little pre-thing, you know, here we are with our equipment. We're going to be setting it up. We'll be getting back to you or something. That's all, you know, in hindsight. It was fun. We met 10 or so flat earthers. Now, jumping forward here a little bit, he lists in his little video release, his little 30, you know, less than a minute, I think it was like 38 seconds worth of description of the actual test, not talking about the part where he's talking about the next test. But yeah, less than a minute long. He said, now obviously Jeran was there, but he mentioned by name, he said Andrea, Bob, Robert, Enrique, Chris, and Patrick. Well, that's 7. So I know it's hard to count to 10, but that's 7. But anyway, it was fun. We met 10 or so flat earthers. All of them very cool people. Well, that's, you know, okay, they're cool people. Then he says the setup was long, as there were 2 places. Now this is funny. He's already scouted this location at least once or twice that I know of, because that was what he had put out in his videos. He even showed pictures of his truck next to a fence out there by the thing, and did a scan of the video and talked about some brush and stuff like that. Whatever. But he'd been out to this place before. He knows what it looks like. He knows what it is. Okay, so this should not have come as a surprise to him. He said the setup was long. There was 2 places. There was 2 places to get to the canal, but both are 3-mile drives to the main road, and then 2-mile drives down, and then 3 miles drive back to the canal access at the far end. So we were going back and forth a lot. Well, why were you going back and forth a lot? You could have sent, if this is the Bob that I think you're talking about, you could have sent Bob down to the other end. You know, somebody you trust to make sure that it gets set up right. You know, why didn't you just send somebody down to the other end with, you know, just WhatsApp or their cell phone number and say, okay, how's it look and how's it this and whatever. I mean, given the location of this thing, nobody took the bus there. Okay, everybody came out there in cars somehow. So you had more than one car. It just doesn't make sense that it was a deal other than the distance one time. Okay, you could have made a break for dinner or something. I don't know. But you should have enlisted their help. That's all I'm saying. And we didn't start the laser until 8 p.m. And we were there till 11. Okay. According to your original plan, you were supposed to start at 3 p.m. Okay, that's what your original video said. Or, well, the video that said that the test was actually going to happen and all that stuff. You said 3 p.m. Now, if you showed up at 3:05 is not what I'm talking about here, but that means you had 5 hours to set up 2 sticks. Okay, 5 hours to set up 2 sticks. Now you might say, you know, those who are listening right now might say, oh yeah, but you know, they had other equipment and stuff like that. Hold on. You had 5 hours to set up 2 sticks. Okay, because his next words are, we didn't start the laser until 8 p.m. Okay, 8 p.m. we didn't start the laser. So if you didn't set up, that means it took you 5 hours to set up 2 sticks. I could have done that on my bicycle in less time than that. Okay? I mean, I really could have. So, he continues on. The poles were too difficult to hit with the laser, and any slight movement of the laser itself sends it tens of feet off to the far end. I totally agree with that. But that doesn't take you, in that sense, that was part of the 3-hour part from 8 o'clock to 11. You are hitting a known target at a known location using the road, which is, for the better part, of straight. You're telling me you couldn't hit that? I mean, really, you couldn't hit that? I'll give you an hour to get it fine-tuned, of course. Okay? It's not like you can just go out there, peg it into the ground, and fire it up. I'll give you an hour, but you couldn't hit it in 3. And you knew where your target was. Okay? Sorry. I don't agree that that's a viable response. And then he says, so after a while we realized that we needed to do, so after a while we realized what we needed to do next time. Okay, that was all he wrote, referring to the current test. Okay, that was all he wrote. Met up with some people out there. It was a long drive from one end of the canal to the other. I do agree that they don't have to ride, that they weren't able to ride down the length of the road itself, apparently, because of the fact that I seem to remember a fence was in a picture. So yeah, they had to go around it. But I mean, come on, man. Really? Okay, so then he goes on to describe his next test, and we're going to analyze that here in a minute. He says, so we're going to go back and construct panels instead of poles. And I agree, that's a cool idea. A larger surface to hit, probably better visibility over distance. I agree with that. Then he says, I am not sure some people really understand how hard it is to pinpoint a laser at 3.88 miles. Well, I'm sorry, man. You know, like I said, honestly, all you had to do was point it down at the trees, or at the shrubs along the canal itself, and then slowly adjust it as it goes down. Okay, as in, like, basically riding the shrubs all the way up, or, you know, whatever is on the left side of the road there. Okay, that's all you really had to do. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's all you really had to do. So, okay, but we are basically going to construct big squares, 8 by 8 feet, and 3 of them. Okay, that's cool. Pretty damn big. I don't know how you're going to transport them out there, because 8 feet is pretty big and doesn't really fit well in a truck, but fine. Okay. One is going to be one right in front of the laser with a 4-inch hole in it at the 13 feet above water level. Okay, mind you, this is also 13 feet above sea level. I looked it up, and that canal is actually at sea level. But a 4-inch hole. So they're going to shoot the laser through this 4-inch hole at 13 feet above the water level, which is probably only going to be a couple feet high off of the road, because the road is obviously elevated above the water. Which, okay, that's cool. And I've at least been told that they are actually using a theodolite to get that height off of the water. And that's cool. So this is where it gets good. Then another panel halfway down at 1.94 miles, and cut a hole in the center of 1 foot. They are going to cut into the middle panel. This is an aiming panel, mind you. At 13 feet above water level, they are going to cut a 1 foot hole in it. Now, please understand exactly how absurd that is. What you are doing is you are creating a spread point. Okay? A spread point. And that's not going to do anything for you. Okay? In fact, that's going to make a larger result on the target panel at the end, because you are allowing for the spread of the laser. If you are going to do that, and hopefully you just misspoke, but I don't think you did, because you actually wrote out the words 1 foot. Okay? You need to put a 4-inch hole in that one as well. Okay? And when you get down there to make sure that you're hitting that 4-inch hole, you need to make sure that the laser that's around that 4-inch hole, that the hole is dead in the center of whatever that spread out image is from the laser. But they're going to put a 1 foot hole in it. I'm sorry, that's hoping that they put it at the 13-foot mark in the middle of that hole, in the center of that hole, not at the bottom or the top of it. Because you put it at the bottom or the top of it, boy, that's going to skew the shit out of these results. But anyway, the final panel will be at 3.88 miles, and will be marked also at the 13-foot mark. Okay, there's not going to be any more holes on the target one, because they want to be able to see what comes through, right? Perfectly cool with that. Will be marked also with 13-foot mark, as well as marked at the 16 and 17-foot mark. I don't recall it this second. Those were his words. Now, let me tell you what's wrong with 16 and 17 feet. I think he's going by what Earth Curve Calculator should say is going on there. The problem is that this test is not really going to work that way. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not just blowing off an excuse here. Because of the fact that you are aiming at a target in the middle that is at the exact same height above the ground from the beginning, it's actually going to skew the height of the laser. Okay. Actually, at the laser, it's going to be pointing down, which is going to lessen the amount of, or the height of the center of the laser, properly aimed laser. It's going to lessen the amount of offset at the target. I hope that makes sense to everybody, but don't worry, I'm going to show it in a minute. Okay. Hold on a second, pal. Okay. When the laser is shot, if curved Earth, the laser will go in the first hole, through the second hole, and at the end board at 17 feet. And I'm here to tell you that's incorrect. It won't even go that high, and that's if you cut a 4-inch hole in the middle board, in the aiming board. As a matter of fact, the result of your current explanation with the 4-inch hole in the beginning, 12-inch hole in the middle, if the Earth is curved, the numbers you're going to get on here, and you're actually going to create your own umbra and penumbra, as a matter of fact. But that's just an ironic coincidence. The start of the visible fading will be at 13 feet 4 inches. This is the penumbra of the laser. And then it'll go solid at 13 feet 9 inches. Okay. And then it'll go solid upwards and fade back out over the course up to about 28 inches. That's about how large the marking is going to be at the distant end, at the 3.88 mile target. That's how big it's going to be just by the math. Okay. And I don't mean actually by the math, I mean more as I have laid it out. And I'll show you, like I said, I'm going to show you that here in a second. Now, of course, he says if a flat course, then of course the beam will be at 13 feet. And I agree, but it's also going to be spread out quite wide. And I think that's kind of the honestly, I don't want to say this, but this is a speculation that I think he's doing the 1 foot hole because of the fact that it's going to skew the results, so he can say that the whole thing is inconclusive. Okay, I really do. I mean, in all honesty, that's my opinion. Okay, but anyway, the other thing is that this isn't. Yeah, I think I already said this, but I have it as a note here. That the 13 this 13 point blah, 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 the 13-foot test across 3.88 miles is actually going to be a 1.94 mile test with an angled start, just because of the aiming method that's being used. So and then he says that will probably be on the Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday after the conference, which unless I'm mistaken is going on today. I'm not certain. And you're welcome to join us. Jeran, I'm not going to fly over 9,000 kilometers. Yes, over 9,000 kilometers. Just to watch you blow a test. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do that. Now, if you wanted to front me the money for it, sure, but I don't have that kind of money just to go over and watch somebody blow a test. So just to clean out the rest of this this post here, it says the panels will allow us to aim the middle board, something that can be seen, and when we finally hit the mark, the laser will be in line with the final board. We will then see if the laser is shooting directly level at the 13 foot. As no matter how hard we try, if the Earth is curved, it should be impossible to have a beam start at 13 feet and end at 13 feet across a middle of 13 feet. And I agree with that. I just don't agree with the 1 foot hole. So, like I said, after that, Jeran was so kind to his users and his backers and supporters that who have been, kind of itching and waiting for it. He was so kind to upload this video, Round and Curvy Mirrored, a flat earth parody of White and Nerdy. I'm sure your backers and your friends and stuff like that weren't waiting for this, man. And you obviously had time to, copy it, mirror it, and post it. And, so I don't even know what to say about that. He didn't even say anything about it. Oh, and by the way, Round and Curvy is not a mirror, is not a parody of White and Nerdy. White and Nerdy is Weird Al's parody of Riding Dirty from Charmillionaire or whatever his name is. Okay. So Round and Curvy is actually a parody of Riding Dirty. So is White and Nerdy. Follow me? Okay. Interesting. But nevertheless, then this is what Jeran actually, then afterwards, almost, well, I can't, unfortunately it doesn't say what times these things were posted, but after that, he posted conference billboard test, OBS simulcast, oh my. Now, let's let's play what he played out. Hold on a second here. Now, it actually doesn't start till about here.
How you can go about restreaming a live broadcast. So hopefully, if you are available tomorrow, Wednesday, it's going to be around 3 o'clock, maybe a little before, maybe a little after. We are going to be by the billboard, and Dave Weiss is going to have his drone, and we want to get it shown as much as possible. So we are going to teach you how to do that in a few moments. So stay tuned.
So he made his little announcements about the billboard and said a couple of things and stuff like that. Now this is all he had in the dawn of this video, this is all he had to say about his test to his backers and supporters and friends.
Just a quick update on the curvature test. I met some great people out there. Andrea, Bob, Robert, Chris, Patrick, Enrique was out there. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Sorry it was so cold, but everybody was tough and we had a good time despite a few problems. So some things went exactly as planned and other things not so much. For instance, the pole idea was just not going to work. And also we had some issues with the laser, but we should have those fixed. And this time we're going to go back and we're going to be using 3 panels.
Okay, that was all he said about the actual test itself. Okay, now he goes on to talk about the test that I just outlined for you right there. And he only does that for about maybe a touch over a minute after that. And then he goes on to how to simulcast and blah, 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 all kinds of other shit. Okay, that's all he said. That was all he said. Okay. No, hey, no pictures, no nothing. There was nothing there to even talk about. Nothing. So at the base of that, he wrote, well, the test wasn't as perfect as we expected. Now, mind you, this is part of a whole nother video that goes on for another 40, well, the entire video is 41:56, so it goes on for a whole nother 40 minutes after that. He says, well, the test wasn't as perfect as we expected. The combination of issues with the poles, too thin, okay, and the laser was not cooperating, as ultimately the focuser melted in onto the laser and there was no more adjusting possible. Now, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on this. I'm really not. Okay, but and then that was it. I mean, they melted the focuser, and for some people who don't know what a focuser is, I do know what that is. Every piece of light, or every light source is going to spread, even lasers. Lasers just spread at a lot slower rate. So they you need a lens out towards the front of it called a focuser. Actually, it's got a proper name, and I've heard it before, but I don't know what it is right now. And this focusing lens makes it so that it stays small as far as it can. Yeah, well, they burnt that out. And then he says, we will be back at it in 2 weeks with an even better plan. Thanks to the 7 or 8 people who came by and those who told me they couldn't find us. 7 or 8 people, huh? He told me there were 10 or so. And then, but he did list 7 out in that little thing there. But I realize that's just me being picky about details. So, ultimately, they couldn't get the laser to work the way they wanted to because somehow it's just too difficult to get one person at the target, one person at the front, and line it up along known locations. So here's what I designed out. Okay, there are 3 configurations that I have here, and these are legit. You can look them up all you want. You can draw them out yourself. Okay, I just use 3ds Max to do it because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. I have 3 curved horizons, or excuse me, 3 curved earths and 3 flat earths. Okay, or flat planes. These were actually easier to draw only because of the fact that, you know, I didn't have to put any calculations into them. Now, we'll go to the flat one first. Okay, line only. The red is the dead center of the laser. Okay, the red line is going to be the dead center of the laser in all of these models. Okay, also in all of these models, there's going to be these two measurements right here. Now this is the water or sea level. This is not the road level. The road is actually a bit higher, but since I don't have the exact height, I didn't want somebody to get mad about that. But they are saying that they're going to have it 13 feet off of the water, which presumably why they picked 13 feet is because that probably makes it a comfortable height for putting the laser up on the road. Perfectly cool with that. Okay. But if you count this out, this is 13 feet. And then I made another one 13 feet above it. Okay. In each one of these posts that you're going to see here, like I said, these are just markers. I'm not designing anything here. These are just markers to get to see what the line's going to do. Okay. So the green ones here are inches. They're going to come into play when I start showing the holes that he's talking about. Okay. Now, what it does is it shoots the 1.94 miles. These are actually laid out in meters, so shoot me on that. But line goes straight through again at the 13-foot mark, and no surprise, across a plane, comes straight through at the 13-foot mark here. Okay? That is the basis of all of these. Now, the rest of the other two with the blue bottoms here are the flat plane versions. Okay? Then we'll go into the curve versions here in a second. Okay, now the two different designs that I put in here were the 4-inch and 4-inch holes, which means 4-inch at the first panel, 4-inch hole at the second panel. Okay, the second one that I did was the 4-inch hole at the front panel and the 12-inch hole that he stated at this panel, at the center panel. Now, the lines that you're about to see here, okay, the arc is the size of the hole. I just did that so it's visibly marked. Okay, in this case, it's the 4-inch hole. Okay, there will be green lines and orange lines. The red line is going to be in every one of them. It's going to be the dead center of each laser shot. Okay, and it's going to be in all of these things. Now, the green lines are going to be the upward, or the top and bottom extents of the laser per the holes cut. Okay, the orange lines are going to be the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom extents, which create the penumbra of this light. You'll see that in a minute. So first what I'm going to do, this all makes sense when you see it here. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is the 4-inch to 4-inch. Okay, so you see here I have the light. This is all going to be light in the middle basically. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Okay, 4-inch hole. Now, to be expected, that 4-inch hole, you will also see that I also did not extend anything beyond anything here until you get to this point. Okay, because the 4 inches to 4 inches, it's just going to line up, of course. This is the 4-inch hole. Now, what you're going to notice here when we move out to the end, though, is that now the oranges are wider. That's the penumbra, from the green to the orange and from the green to the orange. The greens are the solids of the hole, through the hole. So that means that it's going to be a 4-inch hot spot in the middle, and then it's going to slowly taper off to the edge of the penumbra of the laser as it goes through the hole, because the laser itself is not a single point of light. It is a light emitting object at this point, 4 inches wide at the beginning. So what that equals out to is obviously 4 inches of direct light extending out to 12 inches in total, or a whole foot when you get out there. Okay, that's on the flat, and it's going to be dead center at the 13-foot mark. Okay, it's just going to be a big blotch with the center of it being the 13-foot mark. Okay, now that was with the 4-inch and 4-inch. Now we're going to do the 4-inch and 12-inch. Okay, the 4-inch at the beginning and a 12-inch. It said 1 foot hole. Okay, in the center. Now, again, starting it off right here. Simply put, there's the 4-inch hole. Now, we'll move it out here to the 12-inch. You will notice all the lines. I have all the lines intersecting properly. Okay. This is a 12-inch hole. This is the last time that light will be adjusted until it gets to the end, because that's the whole purpose of that hole, is to aim correctly. Now, once you get out here to the target panel, obviously the red line is still in the center. Okay. Once you get out here, the direct light from the laser is going to be 20 inches in size from the 12-inch hole. Okay. This is flat plane. This is no curvature math here. This is just simple flat plane here. Okay. And it will be extending out to 28 inches, a 4-inch penumbra on each side of it. Okay. So it's going to be pretty damn big. Okay. But obviously it's going to be dead center right here. All good? All right. So those were the flat ones. So 28 inches up to 20 inches solid with the 12-inch hole, 4 inches with a 12-inch penumbra with a 4-inch hole. Now, this is going to be the curved earth. Okay, now one thing that you need to know is that on the curved earth, the distance that's involved here, the 3.88 miles, is going to result in 0.178 degrees of curvature, or 0.0178, no, 0.178 degrees of curvature, which is what I have everything set up to right here. 0.178. The 90 degrees is just the bend direction. Okay, in this case, up and down. That's why it's 90 degrees. 0.178, and you'll see that all of them are the same. Okay, they are sharing a bend that goes over the entire group. That's why the box is like this, because I bent it all as a group. But then I pulled it back out of being a group so I could position everything. So 13-foot high laser starting off at 13-foot mark. This is all nothing new, so I'm going to be kind of flying through this part here. Okay, goes through the 13-foot mark, ends up at, because of the fact that it is actually aiming from another location, okay, comes out at 14 feet 6.7 inches. Okay, here's the 13-foot mark, 14-foot mark, 6.7 inches. Not 17 feet. Okay, so he was talking about 15, 16, somewhere up here. That's not what it's going to be because of the height of the hole that you're shooting it through in the middle. Okay, that just has to do with the height of it. It has nothing to do with the opening side, which is what I'm going to show right now. Okay, this is the curved surface one with the 4-inch and 4-inch hole. Okay, 4-inch open beginning and 4-inch hole in the middle. Again, the 4-inch hole, that's where my lines are going to start off. It's also going to be, again, green and orange with a red line in the middle. Now, mind you, I'm not telling you what the results are going. I'm telling you what I'm predicting the results to be. Okay, so, and that's if the test is performed properly. Okay, all my lines intersecting at the edges of the hole here in the center. And this is where it ends up. Okay, the light is going to start at 14 feet 4.5 inches. The center of it is going to be at 14. This is 13. This is the 13-foot mark. So at 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. Okay, at 6.5 is going to be the center of that laser with the 4-inch hole. Okay, however, you need to understand that it's going to be a 4-inch hotspot. Well, it's actually going to be more than the 4-inch. Well, no, 4-inch hotspot. Sorry, but a 12-inch in total penumbra. So the mark there is going to be visibly larger than 4 inches. Okay, by about 3 times. Okay, that's with the 4-inch hole. Now we're going to do the 4 and 12 inch. The 12 inch, again, being the stated number that he said in his post on my channel. 4-inch hole, carried across, 12-inch hole, all my lines intersecting. Now this is what it's going to end up with at the end. Okay, 12-inch hole obviously is going to make a larger hot spot. That hot spot is going to be approximately 20 inches. 20 inches in size. Okay, the penumbra on that is going to increase that size to about 28 to 28.5 inches. And that's if you can clearly see it. It's going to be large. And all of that's going to start, the hot spot is going to start at 13 feet and 10 inches. It's going to be just above there. Now these numbers, you guys can do all these numbers all by yourself. You can draw them out with a protractor. Okay, it's not difficult. I just use this because it's easier to present and it's also a lot quicker to work with. Okay, the center of that beam is going to be same place on all of them. Okay, so those are the results. If you do the 1 foot hole, I'm telling you, Jeran, if you're doing a 1 foot hole, that's stupid because you're going to end up with this huge blob, regardless of flat or round, which nobody's going to accept. You need to narrow that down at least to a 4-inch hole so you have a much more defined distant end. Okay, so all in all, I thought it was pretty embarrassing that Jeran didn't do his didn't do a single, even if it was just 1 or 2 minutes long, a single response video to for his supporters and backers. And even if only 10% of his people even cared about the test, that's still 8,000 people. You know, he's got 82,000 subscribers. You know, so that's 8,000 people who was hoping for a little bit more than a cliff note. Okay, people are waiting for you to do experimentation. People are waiting for you to provide proof, which you haven't provided. So, but we'll save that one for another day. As far as you performing your test, hey, perform it. But somebody like me is going to at least check the numbers, and I want to see somebody qualified working that theodolite telling me that each one of those locations, the hole in the first board, the hole in the second board, and the markings on the target board are in fact centered on 13 feet, and the markings on the target board are the amount of feet that you put on there. I want to see that. Okay, because anybody can lift up a board. I'm not saying you're planning to be dishonest, but it's not difficult to be dishonest in that setup. Okay, so that's where I'm at on this. I hope I gave a much more comprehensive response to flat earthers, at least, because it doesn't seem like Jeran was too awfully interested in doing it. But he damn sure made it out to that conference, though, boy. Anyway, so let me take a moment over here. Oh my God, I got fucking 95 people watching this. Wow. Let's see. I need to. Well, let me see if I can do this on the big. Well, no. So I need pop out chat. So I saw somebody just a second ago asked me if I saw what Stiggy said. Stiggy wants an invite. Well, I'm not going to be on here for very much longer, man. So we'll do that another time. Let's see. So is there any subjects that anybody covered in here? Well, I saw that Tom Tom was actually here, but of course he's never got anything to say. So what's up, guys? What's up, everybody? What's up, Gil, Chairman, Music God, Miles Davis, Fino, and Alpha. I just don't even know how to pronounce your shit. Tau Ceti Alpha something. You're all here on purpose. Stay online. The streets have flooded. I don't know anything about that. Strebe, Tom Tom wants to have a hangout on your shit. I'll watch that. I know I'll watch that. Okay, what is this streets have flooded? I seem to have been coming into the back end of that conversation. What's up, Moto? Everything but what you were talking about. Yeah, that sounds like Tom Tom. Apparently, you say NASA Apparently, NASA uses subconsciously to prove the globe, according to Stiggy. Stiggy, really? Subconsciously. Let me tell you something about subconscious. Subconscious exposure, things that that one goes back a good ways too. And one of them, didn't anybody ever hear about the original movie The Exorcist, where they actually slaughtered a pig and then inserted the frames or something like that? In order to be subconscious, you have to actually be influenced by subconscious activity. You actually have to be paying attention to that which is influencing you, whether you know it's influencing you or not. Okay. So yeah, if you're not watching anything or if you're just outside, I mean, and we're not talking about radio frequencies here. We're talking about actual inputs. Either you have to hear it subconsciously or you have to see it subconsciously. So, the fascination with lasers is strange. Well, not really if they do it right. Oh, by the way, I see somebody posted, Theo posted something here. Not having real life, something about ISS. Tomorrow morning, it actually looks like the weather's going to work out for me, but the question is only the camera that I have. I was on a hangout the other night. We were looking up that what was it, Traverse Finder or whatever that website is that tells you when the ISS from your location is going to traverse the moon or the sun. Well, I looked up my general location the other night, and it turns out that tomorrow morning, about 6:25. Now, I'm not making any promises. I live in Germany, man, and you got to know that Germany's got, well, literally has 6 hours to exactly turn that. In 6 hours, the weather here can change like nobody's business. Right now, out my window, I can see Orion, so that's a good thing. We'll see what happens in the morning, but I'm not making any promises on that. But I'm just making the promise that if the weather's good, I'm going to go out there and try and do an ISS traverse. Mine's actually going to be illuminated, which is cool. It's going to be a half moon with an illuminated ISS traversing it. So, according to the website. So, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with that. Why can't you see Orion in the summer? Other side of the galaxy, man. Excuse me, other side of the solar system is a better way to put that. Let's see here. My carbonated water ran flat. Let's see. A hazmat river, yeah. Well, I wouldn't doubt it. How's Red doing after that hurricane? He moved. But it's good to hear that he came out of it all right. Whoa, what the hell just happened? I'm just pushing the hell out of buttons here and it just screwed up. Uh-oh, Red's picking fights. But that's normal. Red likes to fight. I like facts. Guess you can call me a romantic like that. I like facts. So let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. You cannot be serious. Who can't be serious? Red, Stig says he'll debate anyone, which is an outright lie. He won't debate about the flat Earth. He will stay off topic as usual. Okay, well, Red, that sounds like a headache evening. It's going to be kind of like that. Who was that guy? You guys called him Pissy Pete, who wanted to argue that he didn't want to talk about the shape of the Earth. He wanted to talk about how he thought he found star alignments with craters on the moon using a distorted yet wide angle shot of the Milky Way galaxy. Well, I don't know. Stiggy was just wanting to be on here. You want Eco Project. Why does that sentence not make any sense? I have no idea why he wants. Well, reunion. I get why he wants to do the holes in the panels. I get that. The problem is that I'm hoping he misspoke, but he said that he's going to put a 4-inch hole in the first panel at the laser, and then the middle panel he's going to put a 12-inch hole, which is going to leave him with a huge mark at the end. Balloons launched to orbit on rockets. Why would reptilians come from the dog star? If Antarctica is a continent, doesn't mean the Earth is sphery. Well, actually, it doesn't. You know what? You want to know something cool though, Stiggy? I'll tell you this. For the non-biblical flat earthers, did you know that if the Earth was flat, but not the biblical sense of flat, but flat period, there wouldn't be any mountains? Did you know that? You got to follow a chain of thought to get to that conclusion, but there wouldn't be any mountains. If you think about that. I don't know about rivers, but probably not. There wouldn't be any flowing rivers. But If the Earth was flat, there wouldn't be any mountains. There wouldn't be any height variations, and we would all fall down. Well, here's where I'm going with that, Gil, because I know you could follow this. We all know why mountains exist, and this is why I say that it's the non-biblical flat earthers who would have to understand this. The biblical flat earthers could say that the Earth is what God made it. You know, with its hills and valleys and all that, its streams and all that stuff. But mountains are the result of plate tectonics. And because the mountains are the result of plate tectonics are the result of a heated core to the Earth, or a heated underside. This heat is due to pressure. This pressure is due to gravity. So therefore, mountains are the result of gravity. One would not exist without the other. Just a little thought I was thinking about on the ride home from work today. Mountains are more buoyant. Raging Flat Earth Man is back. I don't know who that is. Who's Raging Flat Earth Man? Here, bring my mic down a little lower. Oh, yep. Red's winding up for a fight. All right, well, it looks like it's fight night tonight. Looks like Stiggy wants to try his luck over at Red's. Pussies are stronger than balls. Does that make you female? Investigate the EUT. What is EUT, Jesse? It's all electric? Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, looks like there's no particular things going on here other than the fight being started up with Red and Stiggy. Wow, that almost sounded familiar, huh? Ren and Stimpy, Ren and Stiggy. Well, I don't know who comes out better on that comparison. But hey, Red, airplane. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and wind this up. I was just seeing if there was anything of substance going on in the chat, but it looks like Stiggy wants to wind up on Red. So I'll be looking forward to going over to Red's channel tonight, and well, I'll get my oven mitt. Hopefully, it won't hurt too bad. So, Darrin, and anybody who might be passing things along to Jeran, because it's obvious to me that everybody in my chat is not going to the conference today. Somebody pass along to Jeran that I produce the results of his test before he does it, and so that we can compare notes on the results. And I will see you guys again very soon, maybe even in the chat on Red's channel. Stiggy, you better show up, otherwise we get shit talking rights. All of us do. Every one of us. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And y'all have yourselves a great evening.